The massive meeting hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with activity. Representatives from over 300 alien species filled the room. Some had scales, others had multiple eyes or arms, and many didn't even look like anything humans could imagine. They all gathered for an important vote about a newly discovered planet called Earth. Ambassador Zakathul, a tall blue-skinned alien with 4 arms, stood at the center platform. Behind him, a giant screen showed images of Earth, its blue oceans, green forests, and sprawling cities. Esteemed members of the council, Zakathul's voice boomed through the chamber. Our scouts have completed their secret study of this primitive world called Earth. The findings are most promising. The lights dimmed as more images appeared on the screen. Humans working in fields, building structures, playing sports, and fighting in wars. These creatures called humans have not yet achieved proper space travel, Zakathul continued. They barely reach their own moon, but they show remarkable qualities that would serve our needs perfectly. Representatives leaned forward in their seats, their interest clearly growing. Humans are physically stronger than they appear, Zakathul explained. They can endure harsh conditions that would kill many species in this room. They heal quickly from injuries. Most impressively, they solve problems with surprising creativity. Series of video clips showed humans adapting to various challenges, building shelters during storms, creating tools from limited materials, and working together to overcome obstacles. Their planet is also rich in resources we need, Zakathul added. Water, minerals, and biological diversity that could serve our empire for centuries. I propose we add Earth to our collection of labor worlds. From the back of the chamber, a small, green alien raised a tentacle. What about their weapons? Do they pose any threat? Zakathul laughed. Their most advanced weapons are simple nuclear devices and primitive rockets, nothing that could harm our fleets. We've conquered 27 worlds with far better defenses. The chamber filled with confident murmurs. This seemed like an easy decision. I call for a vote, announced the council leader, an ancient being, with gray skin and eyes that had seen countless worlds fall. All in favor of adding Earth to our labor planets, raise your indicators. Hundreds of lights blinked green across the chamber. The vote was unanimous. Excellent, the council leader declared. We shall proceed with standard invasion protocol. Admiral Voskara will lead the pacification fleet. Admiral Voskara stood on the bridge of his command ship, the inevitable Victory. Through the massive viewing window, he could see 50 warships assembled and ready for the journey to Earth. Though it was a small fleet by galactic standards, it had more than enough power to conquer a primitive world. Admiral, all ships report, ready for hyperspace jump, his first officer reported. Voskara nodded. At 7 feet tall with red-scaled skin and gold eyes, he cut an impressive figure. Veterans called him the subjugator for his perfect record, 17 worlds conquered without a single defeat. Show me the target details again, he ordered. A hologram appeared in the center of the bridge, displaying Earth and its defense capabilities. Voskara studied the primitive satellites, basic space stations, and limited military resources with amusement. They don't even have proper shield technology, he observed. This will be the easiest conquest of my career. His tactical officer approached with a data tablet. Sir, I've prepared the invasion timeline. We should complete major military targets within 3 days, communications networks by day 5, and have full planetary control within 2 weeks. Make it 1 week, Voskara commanded. I want this planet secured quickly, so we can begin resource extraction. The Council is eager to put these humans to work in the mining colonies of Traxus and the agricultural fields of Deneb IV. The officer bowed and adjusted the plans. No one questioned the Admiral's timeline. His experience conquering other worlds made him the unquestioned expert. As the fleet prepared for departure, Voskara reviewed Earth's history one final time. He noted their constant wars against each other, their political divisions, and their environmental problems. They can't even unite their own planet, he muttered. They'll surrender quickly when faced with a superior enemy. The fleet's scientist, Dr. Mira, approached cautiously. Admiral, there is one curious detail in our reports. Despite Earth's ideal conditions, No other advanced species has claimed it in galactic history. Does that not seem strange? Voskara dismissed her concern with a wave. Clearly, they remained undiscovered until now. Their system is far from the main trade routes. Yes, but Dr. Mira hesitated. Their entertainment media shows they've been expecting alien contact for centuries. They've created countless stories about fighting off alien invaders. Fiction created by primitive minds, Voskara laughed. Reality will prove far different. Dr. Mira wasn't convinced. Sir, I recommend additional study before we— Your concerns are noted, Doctor, Voskara interrupted firmly. But the Council has decided. Prepare your teams for post-conquest analysis. We depart in 1 hour. Dr. Mira bowed and retreated, still troubled by her doubts. On the main deck, troops prepared for the coming invasion. Soldiers checked weapons, while officers reviewed their assignments. Most veterans of previous conquests looked bored. Another simple mission against helpless primitives. I heard these humans are physically weak, one soldier commented. No natural armor, no claws, terrible night vision. But the gravity on their world is stronger than most, another replied. That makes them surprisingly strong. We'll need to wear support suits. Their commander stepped forward. Don't underestimate them. The Council wants them alive and unharmed for labor. Use stun weapons only. Across the fleet, similar preparations continued. Supply ships loaded processing centers for the human captives. Mining equipment stood ready to extract Earth's resources. Administrative teams prepared education modules to teach humans their new place in the galactic hierarchy. No one expressed any moral concerns. The galactic consensus had been conquering primitive worlds for thousands of years. It was simply the natural order of things. Advanced civilizations had the right to use lesser species. As the fleet entered hyperspace, Admiral Voskara recorded his opening entry in the conquest log. Conquest date, FAIF 6327, Admiral Voskara commanding. The pacification of Earth begins. I anticipate minimal resistance and swift victory. These humans will soon learn their true purpose, serving the greater galactic consensus. We arrive at Earth in 3 days. Their world will never be the same. The massive ships disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind only the faint glow of their engines. The invasion of Earth had begun. Little did they know that this routine conquest would change the galaxy forever. Admiral Voskara stood confidently as his fleet exited hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 massive warships appeared silently against the backdrop of stars, their metal hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. On the main screen of his command bridge, the blue-green planet Earth came into view. Begin standard invasion protocol, Voskara ordered. Deploy stealth scouts first. I want detailed scans of their military positions before we strike. His officers moved with practiced efficiency. They had performed this same routine on 17 other worlds. No one expected anything different this time. Stealth scouts launching now, Admiral, reported the flight commander. 20 small ships detached from the larger vessels and moved toward Earth, their advanced cloaking technology making them invisible to what the aliens believed were primitive human detection systems. Time to initial strike positions, 3 hours, announced the navigation officer. Voskara smiled. Excellent. Prepare the announcement of surrender terms. We'll broadcast it after the first wave of attacks. Remember, we want their infrastructure intact and most of the population alive for labor. On Earth, at the North American Aerospace Defense, Command, NORAD, deep inside Cheyenne Mountain. Alarms suddenly blared. Sir, multiple unknown objects just appeared near Saturn's orbit, a young radar operator shouted. General Sarah Rodriguez rushed to the screen, her face tight with concern. How many? 50 large objects and now smaller ones separating from them. They're moving toward Earth. The general immediately picked up the red phone. This is General Rodriguez. Implement First Contact Protocol Alpha. This is not a drill. Within minutes, military bases worldwide went on high alert. Years of disaster planning and countless science fiction movies had prepared humanity for this moment more than the aliens could possibly imagine. In the White House Situation Room, President E. Chen addressed the emergency meeting of world leaders via video conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the day we've speculated about for generations has arrived. Unknown spacecraft have entered our solar system and are approaching Earth. All evidence suggests hostile intent. The Russian president nodded grimly. Our systems detect them as well. We are ready to coordinate defense efforts. As are we, added the Chinese premier. One by one, leaders who had been political enemies just hours before pledged their cooperation. Old conflicts were instantly forgotten in the face of this new common threat. Implement the Unity Defense Protocol, President Chen ordered. And may God help us all. Back on the alien flagship, Voskara received troubling news. Admiral, REO, stealth scouts report that Earth's detection systems have somehow identified our presence, said the communications officer, confusion clear in his voice. Impossible, Voskara snapped. Their technology is far too primitive. Nevertheless, sir, they've detected us, and more concerning, the officer hesitated. They appear to be coordinating a global defensive response. On the main screen, data streamed in showing military aircraft launching from bases worldwide. Missile defense systems activated across continents. Submarines moved into strategic positions. How are they organizing so quickly? Asked the first officer. According to our intelligence, these humans constantly fight among themselves. Dr. Mira, the fleet scientist who had earlier expressed concerns, stepped forward. Sir, may I offer an observation? Their cultural entertainment media has depicted alien invasions for over a century. They've been mentally preparing for this scenario. Voskara dismissed her with a wave. Preparations based on fiction won't save them from reality. Begin the first attack wave. Target their major military installations as planned. The first wave of alien fighters entered Earth's atmosphere, expecting minimal resistance. Instead, they encountered squadrons of human fighter jets already in position. What the aliens didn't know was that these aircraft had been secretly modified over the past decades, incorporating technology reverse-engineered from crashed scout ships that governments had kept hidden from the public. Enemy fighters displaying unexpected maneuverability, reported an alien pilot as his squadron engaged with F-35s over the Pacific. On the ground, as alien landing craft approached military bases, they met coordinated resistance. Soldiers wielded experimental weapons specifically designed for potential alien encounters. Captain James Wong led his Special Forces team against a landing party near San Diego. Remember your training, he shouted to his soldiers. Stay in formation and aim. For their environmental suits, the alien ground forces were shocked when human weapons proved effective against their armor that had easily repelled attacks on previous conquest worlds. On the command ship, reports of unexpected resistance flooded in. Admiral, we've lost 37 fighters and 12 landing craft, reported the tactical officer, his voice shaking. The humans are using technology that shouldn't be possible at their development stage. Voskara's confident expression had faded. How? Where did they get such weapons? Dr. Mira cautiously approached again. Sir, I believe they've been preparing for this. Perhaps other scout ships visited Earth before, crashes that gave them access to some of our technology. On the main screen, footage showed a human aircraft executing maneuvers that matched alien fighting techniques. They fight like they've been expecting us for generations, whispered the first officer. Voskara slammed, his fist on the console. It doesn't matter. We still have superior numbers and technology. Begin the second wave attack. Target their power grids and communication networks. 2 weeks later, Admiral Voskara stared at the battle maps with disbelief. What should have been a 3-day operation had stretched into a prolonged conflict with no end in sight. Sir, we've lost 20% of our fleet, reported the tactical officer. The humans not only resist, they're adapting to our tactics and technology at an alarming rate. The most disturbing reports came from captured alien soldiers. Humans weren't just fighting to survive. They were fighting with a fierce determination that bordered on enthusiasm. They captured 3 of our landing ships intact, said the intelligence officer. Our sources indicate they're already dissecting the technology. Dr. Mira, now taken more seriously, presented her analysis. Admiral, these humans have qualities we didn't fully appreciate. Their historical pattern shows they advance most rapidly during conflicts. Their greatest technological leaps have come during their wars. And we just gave them the ultimate war, Voskara realized. The communications officer approached nervously. Sir, we've intercepted their broadcasts. They're not afraid. They're united. Former enemy nations now fight alongside each other. They call this humanity's finest hour. Voskara turned to the communication station. Send an urgent message to the Council. Request immediate reinforcements. Inform them that standard conquest protocols have failed. He paused, finding the next words difficult. Tell them these humans do not behave like any species we've encountered before. They don't fight merely to survive. They fight as if victory is inevitable, despite all evidence to the contrary. As the message transmitted across light years to the Galactic Council, Voskara watched the battle maps. Human forces had begun, counterattacking, reclaiming territory around major cities. Perhaps, he said quietly, we should have heeded the warning signs. A habitable planet, perfectly suited for life yet unclaimed by any advanced civilization before us. Perhaps there was a reason for that. The first officer looked at him questioningly. Because, Voskara explained, any species that tried to conquer Earth before us didn't survive to warn others. 6 months into what was supposed to be a quick conquest, the situation had completely changed. Admiral Voskara's once proud invasion fleet now operated defensively, their ships scattered across Earth's orbit in protective formations rather than attack positions. In his command center, Voskara reviewed the latest reports with growing concern. The reinforcements he had requested had finally arrived, another 100 warships. But even these additional forces weren't turning the tide. Show me the status of our ground forces, he ordered. The holographic display revealed a troubling picture. Red markers indicating lost positions outnumbered the green ones showing areas still under alien control. We've lost control of most of North America and Eastern Asia, his tactical officer reported. The humans have pushed our forces back to isolated strongholds. How is this possible? Demanded Voskara. We still have superior technology. Dr. Mira, now promoted to chief advisor after her earlier warnings proved correct, stepped forward. Had superior technology, Admiral. The humans are learning at an unprecedented rate. She activated a different display showing captured alien equipment in human research facilities. They've reverse-engineered our shield technology, weapon systems, and even some of our propulsion methods, she explained. What would take other species decades to understand, they've managed in months. In an underground facility beneath MIT, Dr. Eliza Chen led the largest alien technology research group on Earth. Hundreds of scientists from countries that had once been rivals now worked side by side, united by a common purpose. The power core is based on principles we theorized but never implemented, Dr. Chen explained to military officials watching her team work. It's advanced, yes, but it's also stagnant. Stagnant? Asked General Williams, looking confused. Dr. Chen nodded. Their technology hasn't fundamentally changed in centuries. They found something that worked and stopped innovating. She pointed to modifications her team had already made to an alien weapon. We've improved their power efficiency by 30% just by applying modern Earth materials science. In another section of the facility, engineers were fitting modified alien propulsion systems to human aircraft. Test pilots practiced in simulators, quickly adapting to the new controls. The aliens made another critical mistake, Dr. Chen continued. Their systems are designed for their own biology. By redesigning the interfaces for human bodies and minds, we've actually made their technology more efficient. General Williams smiled for the first time in months. When can we begin the counteroffensive? The first squadrons of hybrid fighters are ready now, Dr. Chen replied, and we have something special to show you. She led the general to a massive hangar where a captured alien cruiser stood. Its hull now displayed the United Earth Defense Force emblem. We call her the Defiant, Dr. Chen said proudly. She's fully operational and crewed by our best pilots. She's just the first of many. In orbit above Earth, Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez led the first counter-offensive mission. Her squadron of 12 fighters, Earth F-35s enhanced with alien technology, approached an alien supply convoy. "Remember your training," she told her pilots over the comm. "Their ships are faster, but their tactics are predictable. Use their patterns against them." The human fighters attacked, using maneuvers the aliens had never seen before. Earth pilots had studied months of combat footage, identifying weaknesses in alien flying patterns that the aliens themselves had never recognized. "They're breaking formation," reported one pilot as the alien escort ship scattered in confusion. Lieutenant Rodriguez smiled. "Just as expected. Target the supply ships." The human squadron executed their attack with precision. Within minutes, 5 alien supply ships were disabled, their cargo intact and ready for capture. "Mission accomplished," Rodriguez announced. "Let's bring these prizes home." On the ground, similar victories were occurring worldwide. In the ruins of Shanghai, Major Liu led a mixed force of Chinese and American special forces against an alien ground base. Unlike the aliens' rigid formations, human soldiers moved in small, adaptable teams, each making independent decisions based on changing situations. "They always follow the same response protocols," Major Liu told his soldiers. "When we attack from the east, they'll send reinforcements from their western guard posts." As predicted, when Liu's decoy force attacked the eastern perimeter, alien troops rushed to defend it, leaving their western flank vulnerable. The main human force slipped in through this gap, capturing the base's command center within hours. When they secured the alien commander, the humans discovered something unexpected: fear. The alien officer trembled as he was taken prisoner, clearly terrified of what humans might do to him. "We won't harm you," Major Liu assured the alien, though he doubted the creature understood him. "We're not like you." Back on the invasion fleet's command ship, Admiral Voskara received the devastating news. "We've lost the Shanghai base and the orbital supply convoy Alpha," his officer reported. "The humans didn't just defeat them, they captured them intact." Voskara slammed his fist on the console. "How many ships have we lost so far?" 117 warships, sir, plus supporting vessels and ground bases." The admiral turned to Dr. Mira. "You've studied these humans more than anyone. What are we facing?" Dr. Mira brought up new data on the main screen, historical records of human conflicts. "They have a long history of adapting during warfare," she explained. "Their world wars drove technological innovation at rates similar to what we're seeing now. But there's something else even more concerning." She showed footage of captured alien technology being integrated into human systems. "They're not just copying our technology, they're improving it. They found weaknesses and inefficiencies we never addressed because we had no real competition for thousands of years." Voskara studied the footage of human ships now bearing weapons more advanced than some in his own fleet. "The Council needs to understand what we're facing," he said finally. "These humans aren't just defending themselves anymore. They're becoming a genuine threat to the consensus." He drafted an emergency message to the Galactic Council. "The humans are advancing technologically at an alarming rate. They learn not just from success but from failure, perhaps especially from failure. Every defeat teaches them something new. Every ship we lose provides them with more resources. This is no longer a conquest mission. We are now fighting for our survival against a species that grows stronger with each passing day." As Earth forces began pushing aliens out of key territories, a new understanding spread through human leadership. This wasn't just about survival anymore. In the United Earth Defense Headquarters beneath Geneva, Switzerland, representatives from all major nations gathered to discuss the next phase. "President," Chen addressed the assembly, "6 months ago we fought desperately just to survive. Today we have pushed the invaders back and captured their technology. But we've also learned something crucial. We are not alone in being targeted by these conquerors." She displayed information recovered from captured alien databases. "These aliens, this galactic consensus, have enslaved dozens of other species. They've been doing this for thousands of years, treating sentient beings as resources to be exploited. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. We now face a choice, President Chen continued. We can focus solely on defending Earth, or we can take this fight to them, not just for ourselves but for all the species they've enslaved. General Williams stood. The alien reinforcements show they won't simply give up. Even if we drive them from Earth, they'll return with a larger force. Our only path to lasting security is to take the fight to them. Then it's decided, President Chen declared. Operation Cosmic Freedom begins today. We will use their own ships and technology against them. We will free not just Earth but all worlds suffering under their control. As the assembly broke into applause, a new era of human history began. One where Earth would no longer be just another world targeted for conquest, but a force that would change the galaxy forever. 1 year after the invasion began, Captain Maya Hernandez stood on the bridge of the captured alien cruiser, now renamed Humanity's Reply. What had once been an enemy vessel was now Earth's first true interstellar warship. Its sleek command center buzzed with activity as a mixed crew of military personnel and civilian scientists worked at stations originally designed for alien hands. Status report, Captain Hernandez ordered, her voice steady despite the historic nature of their mission. All systems operational, Captain, replied her executive officer. The modified engines are performing better than expected. We're ready for the jump to light speed. Hernandez nodded and turned to the main viewport. Earth looked peaceful from this distance, its blue oceans and white clouds giving no hint of the war that had raged across its surface. Begin final preparations, she commanded. Our mission is clear. Locate and secure the alien database station in the Alpha Centauri system. This was humanity's first mission beyond their solar system. After months of studying captured ships and technology, Earth's scientists had discovered references to a massive data storage facility just over 4 light-years away. If they could capture it intact, the information inside could change everything. All crew to jump positions, announced Hernandez. Preparing for light speed in 3, 2, 1. The stars outside the viewport stretched into lines as the ship leaped into hyperspace, carrying humanity beyond their solar system for the first time. In a research lab beneath the Pentagon, Dr. James Takahashi led a team analyzing data already captured from alien ships. Large screens displayed star charts, alien language translations, and technical specifications. We've confirmed what we suspected, Dr. Takahashi told the gathered military leaders. The Galactic consensus has been doing this for thousands of years, finding developing worlds, conquering them, and using their populations as specialized labor. General Williams frowned. How many species have they enslaved? At least 27 that we've identified so far, replied Takahashi, displaying images of various alien races. Some mine dangerous materials, others perform complex calculations, and some are even bred as biological components for their technology. Biological components? Asked a horrified admiral. Dr. Takahashi nodded grimly. Some species are surgically modified to serve as living processors or environmental regulators in their ships. It's deeply disturbing. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about Earth's freedom anymore. The scope of the consensus's cruelty was far greater than anyone had imagined. There's something else you need to see, Dr. Takahashi continued, pulling up another display. According to these records, the consensus has been monitoring Earth for centuries, not just decades. They've deliberately prevented our contact with any benevolent spacefaring civilizations. They've been isolating us? Asked General Williams. Yes, and not just us. They do this to all potential target worlds, keeping them cut off until they're ready for harvest. Back in space, the Humanity's Reply emerged from hyperspace near Alpha Centauri. The crew stared in wonder at another star system, the first humans to ever see such a sight in person. Sensors detect the data station, reported the science officer. Orbiting the 4th planet, minimal defenses. Captain Hernandez smiled. They never expected anyone to attack it. Begin approach, stealth mode. The captured ship moved silently toward the massive station. a ring-shaped structure larger than Earth's International Space Station by a factor of 20. "No alarm signals detected," said the communications officer. "They think we're one of them." Hernandez turned to her tactical team. "Prepare boarding parties. Remember, we need the data intact. Use non-destructive methods." Within hours, the human strike teams had secured the station with minimal resistance. Its small security force had surrendered quickly, shocked to see their own technology used against them by a species they had tried to conquer. In the station's central control room, Dr. Sarah Patel connected Earth computers to the alien systems. "I'm in," she announced, beginning data transfer. As information flowed into their secure drives, the humans discovered the true extent of the Consensus's empire. Hundreds of star systems, dozens of enslaved species, and detailed maps of territories they controlled. "Captain, I found something important," Dr. Patel called out. "There's a slave world in the system, Proxima Centauri III. The inhabitants have been mining resources for the Consensus for 8 generations. Hernandez studied the information. "What species?" "They're called Centaurians. Apparently they have unique biological abilities that make them especially valuable as workers." Captain Hernandez made a decision that would change galactic history. "Set course for Proxima Centauri III. If we're fighting for freedom, let's not just fight for our own." 2 days later, the humanity's reply orbited Proxima Centauri III. Below them, a green-blue planet showed signs of massive mining operations visible even from space. "The Centaurians are being held in labor camps," reported Dr. Patel after analyzing the data. "The Consensus has minimal security here, just enough to keep the workers in line." They never expected anyone to come and free them, Hernandez realized. "Prepare landing parties with medical personnel. Let's show these people they're not alone anymore." The human teams descended to the planet's surface in shuttlecraft. When they landed near the largest labor camp, they were met with fear and confusion. The Centaurians, tall, slender beings with pale skin and large eyes, initially believed this was just another Consensus ship arriving to collect their mining output. Captain Hernandez approached their leader, a weary-looking individual with markings that indicated authority. Using translation devices developed from captured technology, she spoke words that had never been heard in this part of the galaxy. "We come from Earth. We too were targeted for enslavement by the Consensus, but we fought back. We're here to offer you freedom and alliance against our common enemy." The Centaurian leader stared in disbelief. In 8 generations, no one had ever come to help them. "You could defeated the Consensus?" The translator conveyed his stunned response. "Not yet," Hernandez replied honestly. "But we've pushed them back from our world, and now we plan to free every species they've enslaved, starting with yours." As word spread through the camp, Centaurians gathered around the human visitors. Some wept, others cheered in their own language. For the first time in centuries, hope had come to this world. In the following weeks, Earth forces helped the Centaurians overthrow their overseers. What the humans discovered during this process proved invaluable. The Centaurians possessed unique biological abilities that complemented human technological innovation. Their natural sensitivity to electromagnetic fields made them excellent navigators in space, and their understanding of the Consensus from centuries of captivity provided crucial insights. Together, the newly forged Human-Centaurian alliance began planning what would become known as the Liberation Protocol, a strategy to systematically free other enslaved worlds while disrupting the Consensus's power structure. Back on Earth, in a special session of the United Nations, Secretary General Okonkwo addressed representatives from every nation. Behind her stood a delegation of Centaurians, the first official alien allies of humanity. "Today marks a new chapter in our history," she declared. "The Consensus chose Earth because they thought us valuable but weak. They will learn that humans are indeed valuable, as allies to the oppressed and as enemies to tyrants. From this day forward, we fight not just for our planet, but for the freedom of all sentient beings under Consensus control." The assembly erupted in applause as humans and Centaurians stood together, the first members of what would soon become the Galactic Liberation Alliance. 3 years after Earth was invaded, humanity had transformed from a single-planet civilization into the leader of an interstellar liberation movement. What began with the Human-Centaurian Alliance had grown with each freed world, as formerly, enslaved species eagerly joined what became known as the Terran Liberation Front. Fleet Admiral Sophia Wu stood on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's first domestically produced warship that combined reverse-engineered alien technology with uniquely human innovations. Unlike the bulky consensus vessels, the Defiance was sleek and adaptable, reflecting humanity's focus on speed and tactical flexibility over brute force. Status report on the fleet, Admiral Wu requested as she studied the tactical display. All 23 ships report ready, Admiral. Her executive officer replied. The Centaurian navigators have plotted our jump routes, and the Proximan engineers confirm all systems are at optimal efficiency. Wu nodded with satisfaction. 3 years ago, humans had never left their solar system. Now they commanded a multi-species armada preparing to strike at the heart of the consensus. Open a channel to all ships, she ordered. The communications. Officer nodded and Wu addressed the fleet. This is Admiral Wu. Today we launch Operation Broken Chains, the largest coordinated strike against consensus control in galactic history. Our target is Rigel Prime, their largest shipyard. By taking it, we gain not just a strategic asset but also free the 12 million slave workers there. Remember your training, and remember why we fight. Earth stands with you all. Wu out. As the fleet prepared to jump to lightspeed, Wu reflected on how much had changed. The consensus had thought humans would be easy slaves. Instead, they had awakened a force that would tear down their entire empire. On Rigel Prime, Overseer Drakthal surveyed the massive shipyards with pride. Enormous consensus warships in various stages of construction stretched for miles across the artificial orbital platforms. Below them, the planet's surface was covered with factories and labor camps where enslaved species worked without rest. Production is up 7% this cycle, Drakthal told his assistant. The council will be pleased. And the new security measures? Asked the assistant. In place and operational, Drakthal replied confidently. After losing 3 outer worlds to these human rebels, the council has finally provided proper defenses. Even if they dared attack here, they would be destroyed instantly. An alarm suddenly blared, cutting their conversation short. What is happening? Demanded Drakthal. His assistant checked the security feeds with growing horror. Multiple unauthorized hyperspace signatures detected. Ships are emerging directly inside our defense perimeter. Impossible, Drakthal shouted. No one can calculate jumps that precisely, but the impossible was happening. The Terran Liberation Fleet emerged from hyperspace at multiple points throughout the shipyard complex, bypassing the outer defenses entirely. The Centaurian navigators, with their natural sensitivity to spatial dimensions, had achieved what the consensus believed could not be done. Launch all defense vessels, ordered Drakthal. Contact Central Command for reinforcements. But even as he gave the orders, more alarms sounded. Sir, we're detecting multiple sabotage events throughout the facility. The automated defense systems are shutting down. What Drakthal didn't know was that for months Liberation operatives had infiltrated the slave workforce, preparing for this moment. As the Terran fleet arrived, these agents disabled key systems from within. Admiral Wu watched with satisfaction as the complex defense grid of Rigel Prime went dark, section by section. Our infiltration teams have succeeded, reported her tactical officer. Defense platforms Alpha through Kappa are disabled. Begin the main assault, Wu ordered. Remember the priority targets. Command centers first, then slave processing facilities. We want minimal damage to the shipyards themselves. The Liberation forces struck with precision, using tactics the consensus had never seen before. Where consensus commanders relied on overwhelming force and rigid battle plans, human officers adapted on the fly, changing strategies as the situation evolved. Admiral, we're receiving surrender signals from 3 of the orbital platforms, announced the communications officer. Wu nodded. Accept their surrender, but verify their compliance. No tricks. In space, liberation fighters engage the few consensus defenders that managed to launch. The difference in fighting styles was immediately apparent. Consensus pilots followed programmed attack patterns that had remained unchanged for centuries. The liberation pilots, humans, Centaurians, and recently freed Proximans, improvised constantly, making them unpredictable and deadly. They fight, without honor or proper formation, complained a consensus commander as his squadron was decimated by seemingly chaotic attack runs. What he failed to understand was that the liberation forces weren't chaotic. They were adaptive, something the consensus had never needed to be during their millennia of unchallenged dominance. On the main production platform, a team of human special forces led by Commander Raj Singh moved swiftly toward the central control hub. Alongside them fought Centaurian scouts and recently liberated Rigelian workers eager for revenge. Remember, we need the production data intact, Singh reminded his team as they approached the heavily guarded entrance. Instead of a frontal assault, Singh's team used a tactic that would have been unthinkable to consensus commanders. They triggered environmental alarms in adjacent sections, drawing most of the guards away, then entered through maintenance tunnels that the Rigelian workers knew intimately. Within minutes, they secured the control center with minimal losses. The consensus commanders, trained to defend against direct attacks, had never prepared for such indirect approaches. Central hub secured, Singh reported over the encrypted channel, downloading production data and accessing slave registration files. The information they captured was invaluable. Complete schematics for the newest consensus vessels, resource supply routes, and most importantly, the locations and security protocols for dozens of slave worlds. 6 hours after the attack began, Admiral Wu stood in the main control center of Rigel Prime. Around her, liberation forces were already freeing slaves from the labor camps below. Casualty report, she requested. Minimal, Admiral, replied her executive officer. 17 dead, 43 wounded across all liberation forces. We estimate over 40,000 consensus forces captured or surrendered. Wu nodded solemnly. And the shipyard? 90% intact and now under our control. The Rigelian engineers are already helping us understand the systems. Outside the viewport, Wu could see liberation ships docking with partially constructed consensus vessels. What had been intended as weapons of oppression would now become vessels of freedom. A communications officer approached. Admiral, we're receiving emergency transmissions from the Consensus Council. They're in full panic mode, ordering all available forces to converge on this sector. Wu allowed herself a small smile. They still don't understand. They think this is just about capturing their shipyards. She turned to address her multinational, multi-species command staff. This is about more than ships or stations. With each world we free, our alliance grows stronger while they grow weaker. The consensus built their power on oppression and fear. We build ours on cooperation and hope. That's why they're doomed to fail. As the newly liberated Rigelians joined the growing ranks of the Terran Liberation Front, news of the victory spread across consensus space. On world after world, enslaved populations looked to the stars with something they hadn't felt in generations: hope. And on distant consensus homeworlds, the ruling species gathered in emergency sessions, watching as their once invincible empire began to crumble before an enemy they had foolishly thought would make perfect slaves. 5 years after Earth was marked for enslavement, the massive Grand Hall of the United Earth Government in Geneva fell silent. Hundreds of human officials and representatives from 23 liberated alien species watched as the unthinkable happened. Supreme Counselor Zikathul, the same blue-skinned, four-armed alien who had proposed Earth's subjugation half a decade earlier, slowly lowered his ceremonial head crest in the ultimate gesture of submission. Next to him stood 5 other, high-ranking representatives from the most powerful consensus species. All had once voted unanimously to enslave humanity. Now they knelt before those they had intended to make their slaves. We seek mercy, Zakthul's translator conveyed, his voice echoing through the hall. The human capacity for warfare exceeds anything our civilization has encountered in 50,000 years of dominance. We offer unconditional surrender. President Elena Machado, leader of the United Earth government, studied the alien delegation with calm, measured eyes. Behind her stood Admiral Wu, General Williams, Dr. Chen, and dozens of other military and scientific leaders who had guided humanity through the long conflict. Representatives from the Centaurians, Proximans, Rigelians, and other liberated species flanked them, all equals in the new interstellar community forming around Earth's leadership. Mercy, President Machado repeated thoughtfully, the word hanging in the air. Your consensus never considered mercy a virtue, did it? You conquered 27 worlds before ours. You enslaved billions of sentient beings. You treated thinking, feeling people as tools to be used and discarded. She stepped down from the platform and walked closer to the kneeling aliens. Though they towered over her physically, there was no doubt who held the power now. And yet you, come here expecting mercy from us. Zikathul's translator conveyed his nervous response. We recognize your superiority now. Humanity has proven itself the stronger species. President Machado shook her head. You still don't understand. This was never about proving which species was strongest. She turned to address not just the aliens before her, but the billions watching, the transmission across thousands of worlds. 5 years ago, these beings and every member of their consensus voted to enslave Earth. They saw our creativity, our resilience, our problem-solving abilities, and decided these qualities made us perfect for exploitation. They never considered that these same qualities would make us even more formidable as enemies. The room remained silent as she continued. Now they control less than 20% of their former territory. Their fleets are scattered or captured. Their slave worlds have been liberated, and they come to us begging for the mercy they never showed others. She looked down at the kneeling Zikathul. So the question before us is, do we return their cruelty with equal measure? Do we enslave those who would have enslaved us? The tension in the room was palpable as everyone awaited her decision. Humanity will not repeat your mistakes, President Machado declared firmly. We will not enslave your peoples or destroy your civilizations, not because we cannot, but because we choose not to. The cycle of domination and cruelty ends here with us. Murmurs spread through the hall as she outlined the terms of surrender. The hierarchical consensus will be permanently disbanded. All formerly enslaved worlds will receive full independence and reparations. Your technology and resources will be used to repair the damage you've caused across the galaxy. She continued with unwavering resolve. Your military vessels will be decommissioned or converted for peaceful purposes. Your weapons production facilities will be dismantled. And your leaders, those who ordered and carried out atrocities, will face justice in newly established interstellar tribunals. Zikathul and the other consensus representatives listened as the translator conveyed each term. Finally, President Machado concluded, all species of the former consensus will adopt and abide by the Terran Charter of Sentient Rights, a document guaranteeing the dignity and freedom of all intelligent life forms. She returned to her platform and looked directly at the former Supreme Counselor. These terms are non-negotiable. This is the mercy humanity offers. After a moment of silence, Zikathul lowered his head further. We accept your terms. As the former consensus representatives were escorted from the hall, Ambassador Raktal of the Centaurians approached President Machado. They do not understand your restraint, the Centaurian observed in the musical tones of their language. After what they did to my people for generations, after what they tried to do to yours, they expected far worse. They see your mercy as weakness. Then they still don't understand humanity. Machado replied, our strength never came from our weapons or technology. It came from what we fought for, the belief that sentient beings weren't meant to be masters or slaves but partners. That's the real reason they couldn't defeat us. In the months that followed, the galactic landscape transformed. The Terran Liberation Front evolved into the Galactic Cooperative, a voluntary association of free worlds built on principles of mutual respect and cooperation rather than domination. Former slave worlds celebrated their liberation with festivals that lasted for days. Species that had been kept apart by the consensus for millennia now shared knowledge, culture, and resources. Former consensus powers, stripped of their military might, struggled to adjust to their new reality. Some adapted better than others, embracing the opportunity to build a society not based on exploitation. Others resented their diminished status, though they dared not challenge the new order. On what had once been a consensus prison world, now, repurposed as a rehabilitation center, Dr. Eliza Chen led a team of human and alien scientists teaching former consensus citizens a new way of thinking. For 50,000 years, your society believed that power gave the right to dominate, she explained to a class of young aliens from various former consensus species. But Earth's story shows a different path. True strength comes from cooperation, from diversity of thought, from respecting the rights of all sentient beings. A young Arcturan raised a tentacle. But if humans had the power to enslave us after winning the war, why didn't they? Your species could have ruled the galaxy. Dr. Chen smiled. Because that would have made us no better than those we fought against. Humanity learned long ago through our own painful history that true progress comes not from domination, but from lifting each other up. She activated a holographic display showing the expanding network of galactic cooperative worlds. Hundreds of points of light spreading across the galaxy map. This is what victory looks like to us. Not conquered worlds, but free ones. Not slaves, but allies. This is the legacy Earth chooses to build. On Earth itself, in the small coastal town of New Brighton, Admiral Voskara, once the commander of the invasion fleet, now a refugee granted asylum under the new peace accords, walked along the beach. Nearby, human children played in the sand, occasionally glancing curiously at the tall, red-scaled alien, but no longer with fear. A human approached him. General Williams, now retired from military service. Still adjusting to Earth? The general asked. Voskara nodded. Your world is not what we believed it to be. Neither are your people. What did you expect? Williams asked. When we lost the war, I expected extinction, Voskara admitted. Or at minimum, enslavement. That's what we would have done. What we did do to so many others. Williams looked out at the ocean. Many wanted to. After what your forces did to our cities, our people, there were calls for revenge. Yet here I stand, free. Not free, Williams corrected. Under justice, you're helping us understand your former empire, making amends in your own way. That's not freedom. It's redemption. There's a difference. As the sun set over the ocean, Voskara considered the human's words. I still don't fully understand your species. William smiled slightly. That was your first mistake. Maybe understanding starts now. Across the galaxy, a new era had begun, one where Earth, once targeted for its perceived weakness, had revealed the greatest strength of all, the ability to win without becoming the very monster it had fought against. The end.